podcast exploring our fantasy wrestling hobby, where the wrestling is written, but the characters are real. I'm your host, Mikey Unlikely, and I'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Atomic Dropcast Network. And we're back for episode 20. I can't believe it. It feels like just yesterday we were starting this podcast, and it's already been since November. I really appreciate everyone who's supported us thus far and who's really helped us out. A lot of the patrons, a lot of the Efed podcast OGs in the Discord, all of you guys, special shout out to everybody there. You can find us on Twitter at the Efed Podcast. If you want to interact with the show, that's the place to do it. The Efed Podcast question of the week is on there. You can go ahead and put your answer in the comments, and before you know it, it's on the air next week on the show. At the Efed Podcast on Twitter, or you can go to efedpodcast.com. That's where you can find information about the show. Our episode catalog is also in there, and you can check out how to subscribe all the different ways. We've got the YouTube links there. You can find us on YouTube/Efed Podcast. And of course, we have the Patreon. The Efed Podcast is a totally free podcast that comes to you each and every week. But if you'd like to support the show, catch us on patreon.com/Efed Podcast. We got some cool perks over there. We've got an interview with one of the guys who's been with us since the beginning in the Discord, Jeremy, the handler of Fuzz. You can find Fuzz at XWF_Fuzz on Twitter. He's a great follow, a fun guy, and really, really fun in the Discord. We've got a brand new Efed of the week on the show, and we've got the Efed Podcast question of the week. But before we get into all of that, as always, let's hear a word from our great, great sponsors.
This week on Prison City, Cam and Never continue the quest towards King Killjoy, however they run into the night. Guest starring Melinda Rhodes, Prison City stars Jasmine Davis, Sativa Nevi, Gabriel Ohio, Maya Blackman and Anna Quinn Adams, and streams this Thursday at 8 p.m. on wearsplat.com.
Defiance, an Angle-Fed boasting 8 years of continuous fantasy wrestling. Defiance offers opportunities for original characters, micros, a standalone website utilizing Backstage 3 script, and a forum hosted on the long-running efwrestling.com, as well as a roster full of some of the most experienced writers in the game. Come see for yourself at defiancewrestling.com. That's defiancewrestling.com.
The Efed question of the week.
The Efed question of the week is brought to you by the EWC. The Extreme Wrestling Corporation is the game's longest-running roleplay Efed, having been established in 1997. With over 100 active roleplayers across 4 unique brands, the EWC offers opt-in booking on all of its bi-weekly shows. It's home to Stranglemania and the 4-day wrestling festival known as WrestleFest. The EWC is built on its welcoming community with zero bias and no drama. All styles are welcome. Come check out the EWC today at EWC4life.com. That's EWC, the number 4, life.com. Before we get to the question of the week, I want to take a minute and give a shout out to all of the guests that we had on the first 19 episodes of this show. Shout out to Dwayne, Brian of both of DefianceWrestling.com, Eric Holland, Eric Dane, Never Wrestling, How Wrestling's Mike Best, Mile High Wrestling, Kendrick Cross, Billy in the Field, Jan Vanderroost, Oath Pro Wrestling, Rob Daniels, Splatpoint, Lindsey Troy, Ben Halcomb, Dandy DeVito, Mac of the EWC, Rick Diculous, Jay from the OCW Fed, and Fuzz here on today's show. Guys, thank you very much for being part of the show and of the first 20 episodes of this very, very fun run. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, this week's question of the week. With the real-life situation of the coronavirus canceling shows and public events, do you think Efeds and their shows should sell and reflect the real-life crisis? I've been seeing it all over Twitter. Half the people are selling it, half are not. So I wanted to ask the question, just put it out there. And I also got poked a little bit about this question from one of the listeners and a good friend, Global Combat. So appreciate that. But absolutely wanted to hear what you guys think of the coronavirus in e-wrestling. On the Discord, we got at Percival Conrad Prince, and he says, no, if anything, we need to pick up the slack for the fans of the Fed, meaning the people who are sitting at home, can't be at work or at school. We should be doing something for those people right now. At Mongo the Destroyer, I think that it can help sometimes. Like, I've had a few guys complain that due to storyline reasons, Trump hasn't been president since the first year in the network. I've also got folks who want to do coronavirus stuff. It depends on the RPers, though. Some like our world the same as real world, and others want an escape. So it's up to the owner to decide where to draw the lines. Good answer. Leave it up to the Fed head to make the rules for his Fed. At Alex Smiley, no. Shutting things down for the sake of a storyline is not a super great idea in e-fedding. What are people supposed to do in the interim? Post character development pieces about coping with the pandemic? As far as realism goes, life is a little too real right now. You know? Yes, I do, Alex. I definitely know. At Judge Megan, I'm 50-50 on this. While most people do want to move away from the hullabaloo, that is what we call real life, they shouldn't have to worry about it. However, if feds have a facility, like WWE has the PC and AEW has their headquarters, then the show goes on. In the end, it's up to the Fed head with what they want to do. Absolutely. At Warren Fitz 45, I see nothing wrong. These sort of things remind me of the FWO when they'd run a Fed-wide angle. Some people dive in each and every week, but some just choose to do their standard stuff without referencing it or barely referencing it. At least with the exception of the one that had the human bomber. Whoa. Everyone had something on the show that helped build toward the explosion. Pun intended. At Brock, to answer the question, I don't want to hear, look at, or think about the coronavirus. If someone wants to talk about it, etc., I get it. But personally, I'll keep it out of my writing because it's all I see on the news. Even ESPN, my normal outlet from the real world, was all coronavirus today. Let's move over to the Twitter and see what response we got over there. At today's guest, XWF_Fuzz. Not entirely, but it could lead to some awesome reasons as to why you're at half capacity or even an uptick in empty arena matches. I definitely think we're going to see a lot more empty arena matches. This is going to prompt a whole lot of that. At HOF Mike Best. Yes, absolutely. I can think of at least 23 feds that should close up their doors and stop having shows effective immediately. Now, what's this about a virus? At El Perro Ward, my honest opinion is hell no, because that's why most of us are here, to take a break from the real world issues. Definitely understand that perspective. At We Are Splat, I don't think it matters, to be honest. If it'll give you something to RP about, then I don't see the harm. Of course, if half the community contracts the disease, then that's kind of stupid, but I haven't seen anyone do that yet. But you will tomorrow. At Veteran Grappler, no harm in mentioning it, but the lines are blurred if you do, as we're all still holding these fictional events in packed out arenas. Very true. At Drake Connors, mention reality, sure, but use it for gimmicky bullshit, no. Remember that this is fantasy. Nobody will actually get sick at any of our events. If it must be talked about, be humorous and uplifting about it. Don't spread more fear. The media is doing that enough. Thanks. Absolutely. The Wanderer DV, unless someone involved is affected by what's going on, and in this case someone getting sick, I feel like things should run as normal. This game, at least for me, is for escapism. I do this to get away from real life for a while. I have to say I think I'm leaning towards that side myself, but I'm of the mind that you should leave it up to the Fed head and what they want to do. I'm in two different Feds that are going two different directions with it. At Adam Mr. Richards. No, if anything for me personally, being able to watch a show or to be able to talk with my pals makes me forget about what's going on around us. That's awesome. At AKA Pinecone. If anything, it should help the creativity flourish. Work together on some storylines, angles, characters. You can't catch Corona online. We're going to have Stevenspedia fact check that one. At Murrow Splash 1, I know someone who would constantly do things like this. He would tell us about how real-life tragedies affected his character, and even tweet in character about it. I found it disrespectful. I play this game to escape the real world. At EWZine? No. Why? One word, escapism. Seriously, we're all here to have fun in the hobby and escape the dull. At Atarathemus? The most compelling stories and characters are the ones you can relate to. If it's something that can drive a story, I say go for it. If you're just throwing it in as flavor of the month clickbait material, then no, stay away. That's a good perspective. At Hoxton World, when all real shows are getting canceled, e-shows are all for entertainment. Canceling them for no reason other than trying to be realistic would be ridiculous. And there you have it. That's this week's Efed podcast question of the week. In the end, it's really up to you what you want to do with your fantasy character and your fantasy feds, but let's just keep it tasteful. If you want to interact with the Efed podcast question of the week, you'll find it pinned to the top of the Twitter profile each and every week. You can go ahead and hit the comment button, put your answer to the Efed question of the week there, and you may make next week's show.
This is Dick Fury, and remember, tune in, listen on your Spotifys, your YouTubes, and all of that stuff to the Efed podcast, hosted by Mikey Unlikely.
The Efed podcast. Efed of the week.
All right, it's time for the Efed podcast, Fed of the... No. I'm tired of saying question of the week and Fed of the week and all that jazz. This segment is now called the Efed podcast Spotlight, because we're going to put a spotlight on one Fed that's out there each and every week. Check out the website, review some of the things we see aesthetically, and check out some of the roster. And this week, the Efed podcast Spotlight is on the GZWA. Ground Zero Wrestling Association. You can find them at GZWA Official on Twitter or gzwa.jcinc.net. That's gzwa.jcink.net. GZWA is a monthly Fed, but they're looking at adding a second show now that they've added more staffs recently. They started off as a purely competitive roleplay Fed, but recently have gone to a hybrid of angle and roleplay. Once the match card is posted, they have a submission deadline for roleplay skits, segments, and those who are in feuds and angles are encouraged to submit something to further their angle and contribute to the ongoing storyline. Those who are not in feuds, their matches will be judged based on competitive roleplays on a match-to-match basis until they can be tied into an angle. Unless agreed prior by all parties involved in the finish of a match, all title matches and number one contender matches are competitive roleplay based. After each show, they have an after show called Reaction, where handlers are encouraged to react to the events that transpired on the card. They have a pay-per-view every 3 to 4 months, depending on the angles or the storyline cycle, and they also have special events that pop up randomly throughout the year, such as an all-female tournament. The GZWA currently has 4 major championships. They have the World Championship, a Television Championship, a Women's, and a Tag Team. As far as the website goes, that's gzwa.jcinc.net. I would say the main word I think of when I check out the website was easy navigation. Now, it is a forum Fed disguised as a website, but I like the way it's done. The color scheme and the setup is very cool. It's different from most forums I've ever seen. Now, you have all of your links at the top of the page, from rules to roster to pay-per-views to CD boards. You have plenty of options upon opening the page of where you want to go. From the right side of the screen, you will see the champions scroll in slowly. And at first, I was looking for the champions page and couldn't find it, but then I realized, hey, they're over here on the right-hand side of my screen. Now, if you move down, you will notice that the entire Feds boards are below, and this is great. Every link you could need, again, can be reached by the home page, quote-unquote, which is really the top of the page. But if you scroll down, it's all right there as well. Easy navigation is certainly what the site is all about. When you look at the roster, you have people like Bobby Jackson, Senor Vinny, the Doombringer, Eric Donovan, Casey Angel, and Chance Justice. Those are the tag team champions. Talia Areno, Christina Rose Lopez Znich, I don't know, formerly Crystal Hilton. I'm sorry, I murdered your name. Eva Aguila, and the Morrigan. Overall thoughts on the Fed is it seems like a fun concept. I would definitely encourage you to check it out. gzwa.jcinc.net. I like the way the website's laid out. It looks like they have some fun people on their roster, and it looks like it would be a cool place to try this angle roleplay hybrid. If you want to get in a storyline, great. If you also want to roleplay and win a championship, you can do that too. gzwa.jcinc.net is the place to go. And that was our Efed Podcast Spotlight. All right, guys, welcome back to the interview segment here on the Efed Podcast. Today, we're joined by Jeremy, the man behind the XWF's wrestler Fuzz. As we record, currently the holder of 2 titles, Fuzz 2 titles, and ready to hang them up for retirement. So for those of you who don't know, Fuzz is an Efed Podcast OG. He was in the Discord early and was tearing it up with the levels. He became one of our most active handlers on the Discord, but also one of the people who puts out our stuff everywhere he could. He retweets anything I tweets. Any news I put up, it's insane. The man is a shill machine. We love him. You love him. It's Fuzzmaster Flex. Fuzz, how are you doing today?
Oh my God, that was so nice. all that just for a few retweets. Gee, wow, I am humbled.
All the
But
love,
then again,
yes.
I'm always humble. That's just what I am. I'm humble.
We'll get there. How you doing today, buddy?
A few bourbons deep and ready to go. I mean,
Good.
I've made some big decisions lately, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Feels like you're a special guest on the Atomic Dropcast.
Yeah, I hope.
Couple bourbons deep.
Oh, this screwball, man, it just goes right through me. It's fine.
There you go. All right. Jeremy, thank you very much for supporting the show. Thank you for becoming our first patron on patreon.com/efed podcast.
As I've told you, I support people who do good things. You know, this is a great community, and I love being a part of it, and I'll help anybody that needs it. That's not that you needed it.
I needed it. I did.
But it's just good to show support, and people, good people doing good things. You got to help them out.
Well, it's very much appreciated from this end. Let's start here. Where and how did you get into professional wrestling?
What's professional wrestling? No, seriously, I have a brother who's 6 years older than me. So basically, from the time I could walk, he was power bombing me, choke slamming me all around the house. And one time he was watching the pay-per-view, and it caught my eye. I was probably like 6 or 7, and it was Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon in the ladder match. And just like from that day, I was hooked. And he was 6 years older than me, so he was, quickly aged out. But then the Attitude Era came in, and it just sunk its teeth into me, and I haven't really looked back. I took maybe a hiatus from watching it for maybe like a year, but always peripheral. What's happening? And, I just remember, us sitting there watching it and then him immediately trying whatever they just did. And my mom would just sit there and just laugh, and I'm, 6, 7 and he's 12, 13. But yeah, it was always a good time at our house because, we stole cable.
There you go.
We had one of these little black boxes that you plugged in, and you got all the pay-per-views and stuff for free. So
sweet.
It worked for us, and I don't know how or where my dad got it, but it worked out.
Yeah, you're glad he did. That's right.
I am.
Thanks, Dad.
Yep, basically.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a younger brother who's a year and a half younger, and rest in peace his childhood because I murdered him.
I know what he went through.
Sharpshooters, Texas Cloverleafs, It was over with, yeah.
And my brother's like, oh, don't worry, it's fake. It's not fake.
Unlike my younger brother, he didn't stay with it. He wasn't into it. Apparently, I beat it out of him.
No, that just made me more interested because now I got to innovate and, get one over on him.
There you go.
It took a long time, but eventually I got this.
So who were your favorites growing up?
Razor Ramon, just, say hello to the bad guy. Shawn Michaels. And then, as I got older, I started learning more. Then we started getting this fancy little thing from Philadelphia called ECW. And I was a Rhino maniac.
Yeah?
I absolutely loved Rhino. I don't know why, what it was.
Because his push was awesome.
Yes, it was probably one of the best pushes in a long time. And then I was like 13 or 14, and out here by us, they had this little wrestling company out here called the Lunatic Wrestling Federation. I don't know if that rings a bell to you.
No.
But I know it rings a bell to a lot of people out there. That's where CM Punk started.
Oh, okay.
I grew up with CM Punk.
Wow.
He's only 3 years older than me. And when he was wrestling there, he was like 17, 18. So I was like 15, 16, somewhere around there. And like ever since then, I followed him from LWF to WCPW, Windy City Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
And then eventually to ROH, and then eventually, where he ended up. And it's funny. I was talking to one of my friends about it, and like he didn't believe me. Like this was a couple of years ago. He didn't believe me. And then we went to a comic book convention out here where he was signing autographs, and we just walked by the table, and he like looked at me, looked away, and then looked again. I was like, yeah, it's me. He's like, why aren't you on my line? I was like, I'm not going to pay you for your autograph. And he just laughed, and we went on our way.
That's awesome.
So, and since then, there's a lot of the newer guys that I like, but I'm not as into them as, you look at Punk and Razor and HBK.
Guys who made huge impacts on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the foundations. So, But yeah, that's them.
That's awesome. And so when did you start watching? Was it mid-90s? Yeah,
early to mid-90s.
Okay.
So that's when I really got into it.
Good deal. And so when and how did you find Efeds, though?
Let's see. It was 1997, so I was 12 or 13 or something like that.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. And I was trolling around an AOL chat room, and somebody popped up a link in his old GeoCities site. I went there. I was like, oh, okay, I'll give this a whirl. Why not? And it was this one where you had you could do all the real wrestlers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I'll be this guy. No, he's taken. I'll be this guy. No, he's taken. So long story short, the Ravens flock ended up taking over.
And you were all of them.
I was every single one of them. I'm pretty sure it was like me and maybe two other guys in this place. And it was fun.
I think that was your answer of the week for a couple weeks ago as this airs. Yeah.
Yes. And it was fun, but, eventually I got tired of it, and, I stepped away for a year or two, and then 1999 is where I ended up where I'm currently at.
That's insane. So you've been there since 99.
Yes.
21 years off and on.
Yeah, off and on. I did take a large hiatus in there, but yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it has been awesome. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's been a real fun time.
So you said you started as Ravens Flock, but after that, who was your first original character?
You're talking to him.
Oh, it is Fuzz.
Yes, it's always been him. I've only had two other characters that I've ever done, and that was only in offshoots of the XWF.
Well, hit me with those other characters, and then we'll cover Fuzz in detail.
Yeah, one of them was J Diddy, and it was part of the developmental brand, and I just put him in there to help get other people over and build up. He was Fuzz's best friend at the time, and his pick base was Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. I'm a Bengals fan, so I'm all about Pac-Man.
And that's at the time when he was in TNA. So that's the time frame of where he was. And then another one was J Money, and his pick base was Johnny Richter of the Cottonmouth Kings.
Yep.
He was just another offshoot of another Fed that the XWF is trying to make another feeder Fed. They've tried to do so many feeder Feds, and they just don't work, man.
No.
They just don't work.
It's a tough concept.
Because it's an entirely other website. If it was always a part of the main one, I think it could have worked.
But it's a feeder Fed is in actuality another Fed.
Yeah, but those were the only two offshoots.
There you go. So Fuzz, what was the original Fuzz like, and how has he transformed over the years?
Whew, you got how much time we got?
We got all the time you got.
No, he started off as basically an Eminem ripoff. That's all he was. I set him in the mold of all he's gonna do is pretend to be a rapper. That was his whole gimmick. He's a fake rapper.
To be honest, that's the start of Mikey Unlikely. So we're on the same page.
It's easy. It's it's an easy way to go.
It is.
And so then what ended up happening was the owner of the Fed at the time, George, he just did not like me, like at all. But I was also a snot-nosed 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Who thought he knew everything. I
wouldn't have liked you either.
No, nobody liked me then. And that's a big portion of my career. Nobody liked me. And he just did not like me because I knew better. I knew everything. I didn't. I didn't know anything. I lucked into a title like 6 weeks into being there because they had the 24/7. And I just so happened to pin the dude on the 24/7 board, and he never kicked out. So I'm the only person in XWF history at this point that can say they won a title in 4 different decades.
There you go. That's awesome. 90s, the thousands, the 10s, and the 20s.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So in order to prove a point to me, he literally buried me. And looking back, I was super mad, and everything. But now, being me, I'm like, yeah, I fucking deserved that. I deserved that. Like, I was in this dude's DMs constantly, just harassing him about stuff. And he was the same age as me.
I didn't get murdered in character until like 27 years old.
They just buried me. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I walked away for 7-8 months. And then a new owner came in, and he had this gimmick that he always wanted to do. And it was, you attack the dude with needles, like hypodermic needles. And God damn it, I said yeah. And it fucking catapulted me.
There you go.
The owner at the time, John Brown, he just went by Jonathan. He was honestly probably the worst thing to ever happen to me in e-fetting because he catapulted me to the top with this gimmick. I ran with it, but now
you're stuck with
20 years later, I'm stuck. My guy's still a recovering drug addict. Yeah. It's like I never used it for the first 5 years. And nope, just the first time I came on the scene with that needle, I jammed it in a dude's eye. I was like, oh no, this is not going to go good. But here I am 21 years later and
a legend in XWF.
Still jamming people with needles. And that's just like the surface level. Cause like there was a whole term coined about me and a few other guys. We were John Brown guys in the Fed. And that was like the red letter, man. If you got that, nobody liked you.
Oh yeah.
But as long as he liked you, you were fine. Like he didn't like give you preferential treatment and like judging or anything. It was just, no, you're going to be in the world title match. If you win, you win. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
So it's like, well, why do I need to put segments and stuff in? And now, like I said, worst thing to ever happen to me.
So hit us with the accolades for Fuzz.
The accolades?
Hit us with the resume.
The resume. Okay. 1-time XWF Universal Champion. That's the top title they have.
Okay.
5-time World Champion there, which is obviously second tier. 5-time United States Champion.
Third tier.
6-time Extreme Champion.
Okay.
Which is 4th tier back then, but now it's 2nd tier now. It's weird. They got rid of the world. It's fine. 1-time XWF Heart Champion, and as of January 26th, my first ever tag team title.
There you go. That's awesome, man.
And then, the legend thing, and that's fine. I don't really bring that up that often.
I'll bring it up for you. I'm going to show the shit out of Fuzz because you show the shit out of me. So hit us with, who are some of the biggest feuds you've had in XWF?
Biggest feuds?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Starting out, it was a handler by the name of Stark Deacon.
Okay. I was hoping you weren't going to say Stark Naked, so.
No, Stark Deacon, he was the creepy cool shit before the creepy cool stuff was cool.
Okay. Before every single person did it.
Before every single person was so emo that made you want to cry.
Yes.
Then there was Big Rig John Gambino. He's always been one of my, like, whenever we were going up, he was the one that hated John Brown guys the most. And I was the pillar of that. And over time, that's faded, but he was always one there. Centurion, he's always been one behind. I'm pretty sure he would stab me if I didn't mention his name.
Have I been mispronouncing his name this entire time?
I don't even know. I'm not very good at phonetically saying people's names.
Okay, good. So
I say it how I say it in my head, and that's the way
I'm
it is.
sticking with it.
All right, I'll just call him Andy.
All right.
And then you have James Raven. I wouldn't call him so much as a feud, more of a every time we are about to cross paths, one of us diverts. And it's always this, will it happen? It hasn't happened. It will, it hasn't. And then currently, I don't have any rivals. I'm a lonely boy right now.
Lonely. So who are Fuzz's biggest allies? How about that over the course of his career?
Fuzz doesn't have allies, but the people that he has been friendly with, again, you got Steve Jason, which we started off as a feud, but over time just became a mutual respect type deal where I don't bother him, he doesn't bother me. It is what it
That's
is.
your friends.
You don't bother me, I don't bother you. And then same thing as my feud, James Raven. Everything builds to and then diverts. He's always been one of them. And then currently, Noah Jackson, again, he would be so mad if I didn't mention his name right now. He would be so angry.
They all appear in the Twitter questions anyway.
Yeah, I know. He would be so angry. But yeah, he's been like a big help to me because I took 8 years off and then I was floundering my first 4 months I came back, and then he's like, we're going to do a tag team. I was like, okay, what's our tag team name? He's like, the Sick Cunts. I'm like, okay. Sure. And, and then since then he's been, right by my side in my pocket.
It's got a certain ring to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's it. That's his catchphrase. Just calling everybody a cunt. I love it.
That's amazing. So Fuzz has been with the XWF for 21 years. Has anybody else sustained the run that you have?
It's tough to say because I wouldn't say 21 years straight. Like I said, I took 8 years off.
Right. Okay.
So it's not 21 straight. It's just, conveniently I can say 4 decades. There's been a lot of people that have been around for a long time. Like John Brown, the first owner, he took over in 2000. He didn't leave until 2011. James Raven was, 2011, and he's still floating around there now. And it's just, there's a lot of people that there's been so many people there that they just can come and go as they please, which is absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. And why should people join XWF99.com?
They shouldn't, because they'll lose to me. No, it's a great place, as long as you stay off the Discord, because that's where I open my mouth most.
We've noticed.
No, it's a great place. It has a little bit of everything for everybody. You want to do micro, we got an entire show devoted to that. You want to come out and, blow your load and do 14 role plays for a match, we got a division for that. It's just, and we accept like all sorts of, new people. Like, we don't bash anybody for anything, we're always trying to help, which I always like. When you go into a place and you see people, oh, this guy sucks in the OCC board or whatever, it's like, why? What's the point?
Right.
So, if you ask for help, you're going to get 13, 14 people trying to help you, because it's all about making the best stories and the best characters, which is what I like. Which is really what draws me to e-fedding in general.
Absolutely. And now, what kind of Fed is the XWF? What are some of the rules, and kind of cover that?
It's your standard role play Fed.
Okay.
There's limits. Everything has a limit except for one title.
What is is it weekly, bi-weekly?
It's a bi-weekly. It's a bi-weekly show where somehow over the past 6 months that the 2 bi-weekly shows ended up on the same week. It used to be that they were opposites, where Wednesday would be one week, Saturdays would be the next week. And somewhere it got flipped where now they're both on the same week. And, it's fine, but it's bi-weekly. If you want to submit segments, you can submit segments. It's not necessary. It doesn't affect outcomes at all. It's all strictly about the writing, and it's always quality over quantity. So I've seen people post 1 role play beat people that have posted 3.
There you go.
It's all about quality over quantity. So that's one thing that always draws me back there. Like I've put my eyes on other places, and it's just like, no, I know what works over here.
I'm gonna stick with it, right?
I'm not so much like I'm gonna stick with it, but I know what goes over here. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be doing this. Let me just go here and have fun.
Speaking of that, next question.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to hang them up?
I'm tired, man. I am burnt out. I'm tired. It's just I've only been back. By the time this airs, will be at just about a year that I've been back.
Okay.
And it's just I don't like staying awake till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, finishing off a role play because that's the only time I get.
Yep.
And then having to wake up in 4 hours to go to work and then do it all over again. I'm just tired. I mean, like, I felt like coming back, like it wasn't even supposed to be a full year when I came back because James Raven was putting on a special pay-per-view for us called XX, which is the 20-year reunion. And I was like, yeah, I'll pop in beforehand. I came back in March. That was in June. I was like, I'll pop in for a little bit just to get my feet under me. And then, like I said, it just kind of kept going and kept going. And I'm one of those people that if I'm in a Fed, I can't say no. You know, oh, you want to go in this tag team tournament?
Yeah, of course
Sure.
I do. Yeah.
I've never won the tag team title. Sure, why not? So I'm not one to say no. And that just kind of snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And then finally at the end of last year, I was like, yeah, it's about time. I was like, I'll get to the end of March and see how I'm feeling. And we're coming up to the end of March, and I feel like I made the right call. I really do.
There you have it. Well, awesome. Let us get to the Discord and the Twitter questions.
Okay, let's do this.
Oh, are you ready?
Oh yeah,
We're
sure.
gonna start with your fellow OGs.
Okay.
Impact OG / Whirlwind's top bookers up first. Fuzz,
Okay.
is your sister hot?
No,
And is she single?
you don't want to go there, my friend.
I didn't even know you had a sister, so that's one
I
up
got
on
an
me.
older sister. I got 2 older sisters and an older brother. I'm the youngest of everybody.
And they all look like you.
Oh no, they all look way older than me.
There you go. All right, up next, we've got Queen Linda's OG.
Aw, Mom.
Mom, who's your favorite, the Efed podcast OG, and why is it me?
Oh, it's got to be Mom, obviously,
Uh,
because you know one of them didn't want to do the Patreon, and then Rick. So I mean, it's really an easy choice. It's really an easy choice,
It is. I mean, when Ridiculous is your competition.
right? I mean, just like me in the Splat thing coming up. If he's in it, it's got to be easy.
What are your favorite angle and feud that you've participated in? That's from also from Queen Linda's.
The best feud / angle was against a fellow handler named Steve Jason. I brought him up earlier, and I had just come back from one of my 6-month hiatuses because that's, you know, when you're a drug addict character, you take 6-month hiatuses like it's nothing. Literally, it's like, okay, we need to write you off. Okay, off to rehab.
There you go. Yep. Had a relapse.
I came back and they're like, he one of the GM at the time, he's like, oh, we don't have anything for Steve right now. He's like, you want to work with him? And I'm not going to lie, at the time, he was like the creme de la creme. And he still is. Like, he came back for XX and he was still top dog. It's like, you look at what he writes and it's like, yeah, no, I don't have a chance. So I was like, okay, well, I just got to out finesse him in story. And I was like, okay, we're going to have a hypodermic, handicap match. And they're like, I'm talking to him in private. He's like, what the fuck is that? I was like, well, you ever seen like a scaffolding match? He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, underneath us is a bunch of hypodermic needles. The way you win, you throw the dude into it. He's like, the match is going to take like 5 seconds. I go, yeah, that's what I deserve. So like the one thing is like, cause he was like, I don't do that. I was like, well, I can force you to do it. I was like, I can do horrible things to get you up there. He's like, I just won't climb up there. He's like, the match is over. He's like, I won't climb up there. I was like, I'll bring a fucking puppy up there, man. He's like, what? I was like, I will bring a puppy up there and dangle it off the edge, and then you will have to come save the puppy. He's like, okay, let's roll with it. So yeah, one of my matches was like a 37-second squash match where I brought a puppy up to the top of scaffolding, held it over a pit of needles, and yeah, I got kicked in the dick and thrown off.
I think she's going to be offended by that answer.
Yeah, probably.
Up next, OG Rick-diculous,
Okay, I know he had a few of them. I didn't actually read them.
a.k.a. Rick Tweedless. Yes, at Rick Tweedless. Question 1, what is your name?
Jeremy.
Question 2, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
Now, I have to add, he added a U to that because he is a Canadian bastard.
Yeah, I know. I know he's Canadian. I know there's
an extra U in favorite and in color. Learn the English language, Rick.
Fucking Canadians.
Question 3, what is your quest?
My quest is to fucking get out of my fucking head when I'm role playing.
Shout out to Mac, who's Canadian.
I guess.
There's one good one.
There's always one, I guess.
Question number 2. I know he went from 3 to 2. How does it feel knowing that the greatest lumberjack in the world today is going to wreck your shit in the Triad Challenge?
The Brawny Man's in this? The paper towel guy's in this?
He is.
Well, I don't have a chance then.
Yeah.
Good thing Rick's in it, so I at least get one win.
He says also no mom jokes this time.
I am so disappointed.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. He's going to apologize. He's Canadian.
Sorry, eh?
At Burrows5, what do you think of the state of e-fedding today? This is from Megan.
I am in my own little secular bubble, so I don't want to comment on that, but from what I see through Twitter and things like that, and I know Twitter is the worst, but I love Twitter so much.
I do too.
It's the worst.
It's
but
a guilty pleasure.
I love it, but I hate it at the same time. But, from what I've seen, there's a lot of good places out there, like Splat and all these other places that try and get all the members, together to do something fun. And, it's a lot more open than it was way back when, where you were in your bubble. That was your bubble.
Yep.
That's where you stayed.
100%.
It's nice because now it's like I sit here and I listen to the Efed podcast. I'm like, oh, maybe I will check out Defiance. Maybe I'll give it a run. Maybe I'll give it a whirl, see what it's all about. Or, maybe I talked to Lee Best in the Discord. It's like, maybe he'll give me a shot,
There you go.
And places I would never, 10 years ago, never even hear of.
Thanks to the Efed podcast at efedpodcast.com.
Yep. Don't forget, show the Patreon.
And patreon.com/Efed podcast.
There you go. You're getting it. You'll get it.
Thanks, Fuzz. That's awesome. Up next, we've got Alex Smiley in the Discord.
Oh, Legion.
Who do you wish you could see from the early years of XWF in the current era of the Fed?
Jason Williams, the original player, Jason Williams.
That was a fast answer.
Yeah. Oh, he was the guy, whenever you start in an EFED, there's always that one guy that like handpicks you, like you're coming under my wing.
Yes.
That's who he was. He was the guy that was like, no, you come with me, I'll teach you. So I want to see him. I haven't talked to that guy in 15 years. And it's just like, anytime anybody brings that question up, he's first one off my tongue. Jason Williams. No second question.
Wow. There you go. Easy answer for him. Moving on to the Twitter questions. We've got at TW Combat. Fuzz, how do you feel today's XWF stars would have stacked up against the XWF stars of 20 years ago, when the RP limit was 2 a day? And likewise, how do you feel those stars of the past would stack up today?
Oof.
So today versus then, let's start there.
All right, today versus then under those limits.
Yes, under old rules.
There is a select handful that could do it.
Give them a shout out.
Engineer could do it. Sarah Lackland, she's not in the XWF anymore. She's over in UGCW. She could do it. Noah Jackson could do it. I could not. I don't have time or patience to do that anymore. There's a few other ones, but other than that, it's that 2 a day was miserable.
No doubt.
Like the only time I was good at the 2 a day was in the middle of summer when I wasn't in school.
Yeah. Otherwise, what else are you going to do?
Exactly.
All right. And then vice versa. What about those stars from yesteryear today, other than the one you already mentioned?
That's tough because I think a lot of that style translates to today, because even back then they were doing 3,000, 4,000 words twice a day. And our limits now are 2 role plays at 3,000 a piece.
Bruv, I have a problem with 3,000 once a week.
I do, let's see, The past 2 pay-per-views, I've done, this upcoming one and the past one. I will do 5 3,000 words in a 2-week span. I talk a lot, man.
No doubt.
But I like hearing my own voice, man. Not recorded.
We both know that's not true. Yeah.
in my own brain, I love hearing my voice. I love hearing it. No, I think the older generation would translate well. It's just they're all old. Like back then in 99, they were 21, 22.
Absolutely.
Add another 20. They're 40 years old. They don't want to be dicking around on the internet with me, which is why I'm trying to leave.
Audi 5000. I get it.
Pretty much.
At Centurion wants to know.
No, I don't want to answer his. No, go ahead.
Say hi to me and boost my ego or I'm calling the police.
Go ahead. Call the police, Andy. Nobody wants to hear from you. You're okay. Okay. I came in. I attacked you when I came back. You're welcome for your relevancy. You're welcome. You're welcome. Nobody cared you were here until I came back. How's your ego now?
At Stop Banning Noah.
My son.
Who is your favorite son and why?
Noah. Noah Jackson, the sickest cunt on the planet.
What has been the highlight of your Efed career?
Honestly, there's 2 of them. And one of them actually involves him, which is when we won the tag team titles. Because it was something I never thought I would do. And then the first one was obviously winning the Universal Championship the first time.
There you go.
And only time, mind you.
What is the most embarrassing / funniest story you can recall during your time in Efedding, either to yourself or one that you were there for?
I'm pretty sure it was the puppy story.
There you go, over the needles.
Yeah, the puppy over the ring filled with needles. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. That was...
What about for somebody else that you were there for?
I really didn't. I hate it when people take advantage of people like that.
Okay, there you go.
It's not my spot
Fair
to
enough.
say, oh, that was funny, because it might have been funny to me, but that might have been the last time that dude, ever played the game, because that happened. So
there you go.
I'm not going to comment on that one. Sorry, Noah.
Why do you enjoy the hobby?
Escapism. It allows me to be somebody else. Not that my life's bad. I got a good job, wife, kid. But, sometimes, life's a little annoying sometimes. So I'm going to go right about that.
Sometimes you want to be a superstar.
I'm always a superstar.
Superstar.
No, it's just sometimes you got to escape reality. And this is a fun way to do it. And, meet new people. And, I didn't even know who half the people in the Discord were before then. So, it's just an outlet. That's why I enjoy it.
Definitely meeting new people is cool. At Atara Themis.
Addie, gotcha.
Addie. She's got 105 questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Rapid fire.
Yep, go ahead.
What do you think match judges find most appealing about a Fuzz promo?
I would say my ability to trash talk. I think that everybody gravitates to that. I think I'm a strong storyteller, but I'm not as strong as even she is, or even Engineer or anybody. My stories are the weak point. I'm aware of that, but definitely my trash talk.
Awesome. When are you changing your pick base to Tom Hardy?
Probably never, but when I retire, I'll probably just put that on there so she has something to look at.
Who's the one handler you absolutely don't want to face? There has to be one.
Absolutely do not want to face.
Yes.
A very motivated Steve Jason.
Steve Jason and Mikey Unlikely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you too. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I suck at this game.
A 100% motivated Steve Jason. I don't think there's a single person in the game that can touch him.
There you go. What is the title of your sex tape?
The title of my sex tape is I Came Hard.
I love that show. F, Marry, Kill. Theo, Rav, or Vin?
Let's see. You kill Vinny just because the 80s are dead, man.
Die with them. Yeah.
Die with them. I would fuck Raven.
Okay.
Just because, he's my buddy. And then I'd marry Theo because I think he'd take care of me. I think I could be a kept man with him.
Yeah, a house husband.
Exactly. I'm okay with that. I'll get more efetting done.
Next question. Using real world wrestlers, what would you combine to make the perfect wrestling machine?
Perfect wrestling machine. Okay. Ooh, this can give me 2 seconds. All right. I want the ability of Chris Jericho to adapt and change. I want CM Punk on the mic. Give me Shawn Michaels' charisma. Give me Dean Malenko's wrestling ability. And give me the power. Give me Brock's power. There you go.
There it is.
That's the perfect wrestling machine.
That's awesome. What's the deal with Tech Nine, and what's the appeal to his music for you?
The appeal to Tech Nine is, I don't know. I just really like him.
You just really want to go to Kansas City, is all.
I've been to Kansas City. I've seen Tech Nine live probably 20, 25 times. I've been to Strange Music. I've been to their headquarters. It's just something about, somebody who's underground that just does it themselves.
There you go.
It's his
independent.
Own label.
Yep.
It's his own label. It's his own money. Yeah, you respect that. That's why, again, good people doing good things.
From where do you pull your creative inspiration?
My trash talk is strictly music. I always, when I start writing or as you guys might call it, the promo section. A lot of people don't call it the trash talk. I call it the trash talk because I'm just breaking you down. I always start with the same song, which is Patiently Waiting by Eminem and 50 Cent. And then I just hit shuffle. And I hit shuffle on my phone. And what happens. And then my stories, the story section of it is always based on what I'm currently watching on TV. So there's a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine references, a lot of Office, Parks and Rec, a lot of comedy, but I'm not a comedy writer, which is weird.
I am.
So I am not. I don't do funny. That's what Noah's for.
There you go. Yeah, good mix. Well, good deal. At Steve_sexy with 3 X's.
Oh, Barney.
Why are you so good?
Time, patience, and dedication. Everything comes with patience. I did not start out good. Nobody starts out good. I wanted to be good. Like from my first day, when I came back in 2003, that's when they opened up the Hall of Legends, and that was my goal. Now I'm there, and that was it. But you got to be patient. Nothing happens overnight. It takes time. If you're waiting until the last second to write a role play, good things are not going to happen. And then dedication. You have to want to do it. So, that's why I'm good. Get on my level, scrub.
Get on your level. At Mikey Unlikely, Fuzz, F, Marry, Kill, all the OGs.
Okay. Kill Rick.
Kill
He's
him.
Canadian.
Okay. Makes sense.
Impact. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fuck you, and then I'm gonna marry mom.
Got to.
That's easy. It's easy. plus, I might. She doesn't live far from me. I might.
Putting it out there, laying down the challenge.
Putting it out there. It's out there. You put it out into the universe, it'll come.
Aren't
back.
you already? You're already married.
Yeah, we'll go polygamous. It's fine.
You're gonna go wrestle UTA.
Yep.
Utah. Anyway, Fuzz. That's all we got for the questions, bud.
Oh, you're not going with the Taco Bell one?
Oh, there is a Taco Bell one. Oh my God!
I specifically remember that one.
Did you know this is from Artemis or Atara Themis? Did you know the original Taco Bell recipe was copied from an authentic Mexican restaurant? My apologies to Atara.
No, I did not, but that explains why they suck.
First of all, drunk food, it is fantastic.
Dude, go to White Castle. Get over yourself.
No.
Dude, White Castle is 24/7. Get over yourself. Go to White Castle like a normal human. Or go to an IHOP. I'm
not going to get that Hispanic feeling from White Castle.
And you're not getting it from Taco Bell either.
I am. Man, Mexican pizza gets me right in the feels at 3 a.m. when I'm trashed.
Okay, all right. I'll give you fine.
It's great. Awesome, Fuzz. Listen, before we go, the time is yours. Give out any shout outs, plug the XWF, plug whatever you want to plug before we get out of here.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Follow me on Twitter at XWF_Fuzz. I'm a great follow if you want to fight.
He's a fantastic follow if you want to hear about the Efed podcast as well.
You can hear about that. I'll fight with you. I'll get in gift wars with you. I will have your back if you have mine and anything else. Buy Pete's book. Don't forget that. You got to buy Pete's book.
Buy Pete's book.
Support Mikey on Patreon.
Patreon.com/efed podcast.
There you go. You're getting it. Yeah, really check out xwf99.com. If you have any questions, Discord, hit me up on Discord. I'm always on. Even when it says I'm off, I'm on. That's my motto. Oh, that's a new motto. I'm sticking with that.
Even when I'm off, I'm on. I like that.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, that's really about it.
It's true, though, too, because as soon as I start typing something, I'll see XWF Fuzz pop up on the members list.
Yeah, because like when I'm at work, my phone is right there, and it's always on. And it's just, you can ask everybody in my Discord. They're like, do you even sleep? I was like, yeah, about 5 hours a night. That's all I need. Which I need more.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's all I got to shill. Wow. Oh, I need to pick up more.
Good deal, man. Hey, thank you so much for joining us for the EFED podcast interview. Thank you so much for shilling the shit out of us, supporting us on Patreon and everything else.
Hold on, one question, because if I don't tell you, Vinny will kill me.
Uh-oh.
Who do you like better, me or Vinny?
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, suck it, Vinny.
Sorry, Vinny, but this boy's been shilling my shit since day one.
Yeah, okay, good.
Like episode 2 or something. It's like insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't
I appreciate, although Vinny did put my shit on your website, so I appreciate him too.
Because of me. He wouldn't have done it if I don't talk about it.
The political answer is we love everyone over at the XWF99.com. Check them out, XWF99.com, a great role play fed, and you get to fuck with Fuzz. So that's the shit right there.
You come over to my stomping grounds. I'm the predator. I'm the apex.
Fuzz fucks with you.
Exactly. No, but seriously, it's a good time.
Awesome, man. Hey, appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thank you for doing this.
And that's going to wrap us up for another edition of the EFED podcast. Want to thank Jeremy for not only being awesome in the Discord, but for joining us here for an interview this week. Want to thank Brian for producing this great episode of this show. Want to thank all of our sponsors, DefianceWrestling.com. I want to thank WeAreSplat.com, EWC4Life.com, and of course, check out the Patreon.com/EFED podcast. Thanks for listening this week, everybody, to the EFED podcast, where the wrestling is written, but the characters are real.
On Patreon.